Hey guys, this is Curtis Alexander. I'm a pharmacist. In this video, I'll be going over part of my 101 series, but we'll be talking about Harvoni, which is a medication used to treat chronic hepatitis C. I've done another video on one of the other hepatitis C medications called Mavyret. I'll link to that in the description as well. But it's nice because we have more options to treat hepatitis C. Harvoni is one of them. So I'm going to hop right into it. Harvoni is what's called an NS5A inhibitor, and basically that's the same thing that Mavyret does as well, but basically what it does is it blocks that the hepatitis C viral replication that's going on in your body. Now, we can use it, and we do use it for chronic hepatitis C, but one of the questions that comes up is comparing it to some of these other medications. Harvoni is more limited because if you're diagnosed with hepatitis C, if they measure a viral load in the body, one of the first things they're going to do is get a genotype. There's, I believe, 6 genotypes, and then there's some subgenotypes. And Harvoni can only be used with certain genotypes, either the 1, 4, 5, or 6. Now, in America, most genotypes are 1, so Harvoni is an option. It varies though as you go into different countries and so forth what genotypes are available. So depending on your genotype, you can use Harvoni. All right. As far as the dosing, there's some other misconceptions about the dosing. For example, Mavyeret's an 8-week dosing, and Harvoni is considered a 12-week dosing, which is once a day for 12 weeks. But the thing to keep in mind is it really depends. You can do an 8-week treatment with Harvoni and shorten it down. You do have to meet certain criteria. You cannot show signs of cirrhosis or scarring of the liver. Your hepatitis C loads have to be below 6 million per ml, and you have to test negative for HIV. So it depends on your scoring. And what they'll do, it's called the Child-Pugh score. Not anything you need to worry about per se, but they will base your liver health off that score. Okay, so you can do a shorter treatment window with Harvoni, but you do have to meet some criteria. Now, let's talk about side effects, because this is a big thing. I mean, when you have hepatitis C, the goal is to cure the person of it, but it does come with some side effects, okay? So the first one I would mention is headache. 11 to 29% of folks can experience a headache. Why the range? That's a fairly wide range. Again, in the studies, it can just vary. I mean, I try to give you the low end occurrence plus the high end occurrence from multiple studies. So that's why we're seeing kind of a range. Fatigue. This is one, when people take these medications in the real world, this is one that I can see that people do complain of, 10 to 18%. Asthenia, which is just muscle fatigue, muscle weakness, 18 to 31%. So these are somewhat common in the real world. Nausea is another one I have people complain of, 6 to 9%. Your lipase levels, and you're going to have your blood monitored continually. We'll talk about that in a second while you're on Harvoni. But they can see increase in this lipase, and this means greater than 3 times the upper limit of normal. So we can see those bumps. We can see diarrhea. That's not an uncommon one as well, 3 to 7%. So tend to see fatigue, just generalized fatigue, muscle fatigue, and some stomach issues. So those tend to be your kind of big ones. Now the monitoring, and this is pretty much going to go for all your hepatitis C drugs, okay? So we have the start, and then we have sort of the end of your therapy and beyond the end. So when they start out, one of the things to remember is that they're going to test you for hepatitis B as well. If you test positive for hepatitis B, it's going to be very concerning, because when you take a medication like Harvoni, it can cause reactivation of hepatitis B. So they'll measure you for hepatitis B, obviously. Hepatitis C, they'll measure you for hepatitis A. They're going to get a CBC, a complete blood panel. They will measure your INR, which is how fast your blood clots, okay? They will also get a fibrosis score. That relates back to your cirrhosis. They want to see if there's any scarring going on. Again, we already talked about they're going to measure your genotype. More importantly, they are going to get a viral load, because what we want to see is this viral load at the start continue to go down to nothing. So as you're taking the therapy, that will be measured. We talk about getting an HIV test. So most important, coming back to this, they are going to get a baseline. They're going to get labs while you're doing therapy, and they are going to get labs 12 weeks after you're finished. And that's where they're going to determine that, yes, this was a success, and we've seen a zeroing out of your viral load. So the truth be told is that when Mavyret came on the market, one of the other hepatitis C drugs, for a genotype 1, which is what we most commonly see in America, Mavyret is still considered first-line therapy. But I've seen insurances prefer Harvoni. It is more rare to use Harvoni than Mavyret. And part of the reason is that I find is people get hung up on this 12-week thing. But again, if you meet the criteria, you can shorten it down to an 8-week therapy, just like you do with Mavyret. But if you've taken Harvoni, you know anybody who has, post it in the comments. It's helpful for me. It's helpful for other viewers to know your experiences with it. And the other thing to mention is all these medications to treat hepatitis C are ungodly expensive. But there is financial assistance. Pretty much everybody has insurance. If they don't, there's financial assistance. I'll put a link to that below as well, along with the Mavyret video. But again, if you've taken it, let me know in the comments. It's really helpful. I hope this video was helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.